Good afternoon, Berkshire Hathaway family. We are so excited. I hope that many of you are out there enjoying this in your office or individually. We are so delighted to bring you the very first FaceTime live stream. I'm going to be your host today, Matt Mansfield, the EVP of Agent Solutions. This idea came to be because 2026 is shaping up to be an amazing year, and we wanted to give you the freshest, most relevant, top-notch content we can and make it easy for you to get to. So we started the live stream, the tech team all rallied, and it came together. So I couldn't be more passionate and excited about this project and happy to see you all today. With me, I have some co-hosts today. Greg Miller, your COO, is on. We've got Scott Klein, your Director of Education, in here. And, to start out the live stream on our very first session here, we hit it out of the park because we have the number one guest we could possibly get to kick this off. The one and only Jimmy Burgess is in the house.
Come on. Listen, Matt, we should do this more often. You should usually it's like Jimmy Burgess. I feel great about this, man. Come on. This is gonna be fun.
Yeah, it's going to be amazing. We'll keep it high energy. And as a bonus, the next couple of weeks, we're going to jump on same time, Thursdays at 1 for some micro training sessions. We're going to dive just a little bit deeper into some of the concepts and techniques Jimmy talks about today. And we're going to give you some Canva templates and supportive materials to make sure that you can really grab them and go and get out there and do the things Jimmy's going to teach you today. So stay tuned for the invites to that. We're all really excited to crush it this year. So I guess with that, Greg, Scott, anything to chime in, or are we letting Jimmy take the wheel here?
Let him take the wheel. Let's go.
Let's go.
Let's go, Jimmy.
All right, listen, Matt, I didn't realize this was the first one. This is going to be fun, man. We're going to have a lot of things. I love your team. I mean, literally, I don't know. There was a conference out in Omaha that Greg spoke at. I don't know that I have laughed that much at a presentation and in a good way than I did at Greg's. I mean, it was just phenomenal. And obviously, Steve's been a good friend for a long time. Just love everything you guys do, and just the way that it's built on integrity, it's built on agent support, it's built on really putting the agents in a position to do what they do best, which is just serve their community. So with that in mind, we're going to go in today to some things that I know can help you, okay? This is I want you to understand, though, how unique the situation you are in. I travel around the country and get to see and hear what's happening in a lot of different markets. The situation you are in your marketplace right now is unique. You have a unique opportunity. With having inventory still tight, it's probably you, that Kansas City market in the Midwest, the Northeast, and the rest of the country is seeing a completely different market than you are. So the way I was brought up, the best way to honor when you have an opportunity is to take full advantage of it. So today what I want to do is because you're in this position where you really are in a unique position nationwide to be able to do the things that you're going to be able to do this year, it's going to be a phenomenal year. So I'm going to share my screen. I want to make sure that we got everything. So if you guys can just vocally, Matt, let me know that you can see my screen when I get this pulled up, just so I know that it's there. We good? You can see my screen there? All right, perfect.
We can see it.
What we're going to do today is listen. I've got this 7 ways to generate and listings and build momentum. But in reality, sometimes when you're in a marketplace like you guys are, I call this listing alchemy. If you know what an alchemist does, they basically create something out of something that maybe you don't think is possible. And sometimes what we've had in certain marketplaces, and it sounds like where you guys are now, is, yeah, there's some listings, but you've really got to do some things a little different. And this is a pros market. And so those of you that have showed up today and that are part of this and are going to lean into these trainings in the coming weeks, this is the opportunity to really separate yourself from everything else that's happening out there. It is separation season, in my opinion, not just the time of year, but you have to understand, across the country, historically speaking, the markets begin to heat up through the middle of the summer. Really, that's some of our most active times nationally, and it's that way in our market, and I'm assuming it is in yours, the week after the Super Bowl. Guess what week it is? It's the week after the Super Bowl. So literally the timing on this for you guys is phenomenal. This is a time when you can set yourself apart. So I'm going to go through and talk about just some of these different things that we're seeing right now that are completely, a lot of times it's just putting a new spin on something that is effective, okay? Ultimately, all of this is about the conversations we have. I had living down here at the beach in Northwest Florida, we have a lot of people that visit. And so I had friends of mine, 2 different team members that were running big teams, did over 500 transactions. They brought their families in. They were staying at Watercolor, which is right here by my office, this little community on the beach. And we had this great dinner. We had a couple bottles of wine. We had some great steaks. And the guy that came in there was one from Tennessee, one from Louisiana. The one from Louisiana had this friend of his with him. And he was not in the real estate business. Super nice guy, really kind of quiet. And he ran an insurance business that had 200 agents with, but he was really quiet. I'm not going to use his Cajun accent. He was from South Louisiana, though. We were talking about what was happening with real estate, and he says, let me tell y'all something. And when he said that, we stopped immediately, as you can imagine. He said, let me tell you what I tell my insurance agents, and I will tell you this. It's the same thing for real estate. He said, you see this phone right here? He said, when it's sitting on the table like that, that's broke. When it's right here, that's rich. Rich, broke. Broke, rich. So all of this really boils down to how many real estate related conversations are you going to have? Because nothing happens without conversations. So those relationships, those conversations, that's foundational for everything we're going to do. But I'm going to give you some fresh new perspectives on how to do some of the things that have always worked a little bit better, okay? We're going to start with just sold campaigns. Now listen, nothing, as P.T. Barnum said, there's nothing draws a crowd like a crowd. And so when you're sharing some of the successes you have, it gives you the capability really to do things a little bit differently. The reason why we still send the just sold postcards, and so many agents do, it's because it works. I mean, you know, it still does work, but there are ways we can do this a little bit different. Reimagine this, and I'm going to show you some of these, okay? So this is an example of one. And look, I'm going to note this because a lot of these ideas, one of the things that I'm just an aggregator of ideas, okay? So as I see these things, I don't want to just like be, I'm so smart. This is from a buddy of mine, Jimmy Mackin, who runs Listing Leads. He was on the Friday Masterminds. By the way, if you're not on the Friday Masterminds, please jump on with those things. They are literally, it's just such a great opportunity to hear from some of the best agents in the country, as well as some of the industry leaders. This is one that Jimmy Mackin shared on out of his Listing Leads portfolio. And he gave us a discount code in case anybody's interested that was on there. But basically, this is the thing. As we're seeing in most markets, some of the average days on markets happen and some expired listings happening. This was a campaign that this guy did. And really, it's a little bit different. Instead of just saying just sold, it's not all homes are selling. This one did. And then the market is bumpy. He tells the story of this, which gives the ability for someone to relate to it. So think of it this way. This business and the way that I grew up in this business, now 32 years in, it was always about shine the spotlight on me. Another one sold. I mean, like we're like DJ Khaled or something, you know, another one or something crazy where we're just making us the hero. And in reality, the consumers could care less. They want to know what's in it for them. So they want to be able to understand and relate to exactly themselves in certain situations. So this is where we start telling the stories of what happened, where we're making the process or the people, besides ourselves, the prospects, the heroes instead of us. So this is why telling stories about this sale gives people to understand that they can get past some of the fear. They can begin to see themselves participating. So this is an example of that. Here's some others. This is from a 1,000 watt. We were out in California and 1,000 watt just last 3 weeks ago. And they gave this presentation on doing marketing a little different. This is one that's a little bit different than a just sold. It says, this home sold in 5 days. I bet you're curious how we made it happen. And then on the back side of it, it tells a little bit about the story, but it doesn't tell more than is needed to not make them want to pick up the phone and talk to you. So that's a little bit of a different spin on this. Also, this property took 6 months to sell. Here's why. Again, this is speaking to some of those, maybe those listings that have been sitting out there. Because look, we're seeing expireds across the country in certain pockets where the seller needs to, we call it marinate, be actually tenderized by the market. So the best agent to be is kind of like what we've heard about spouses. It's the second one because, you know, they change. They're ready to listen to you a little bit. So literally think about it this way. This is speaking a little differently, but you're telling a story that people may be able to relate to. Maybe they've had their house on the market and they haven't been able to get it sold. This gives them that opportunity, okay? This is another one that we have personally done. This is Colby Anderson. You're going to be seeing a lot of his stuff because he and I work together. He's right here in the office with me. And we've kind of tailored a lot of what he's doing. Is he's kind of my testing ground on some of this stuff. And so this is a little bit different. Instead of sending a just sold postcard, this is a letter, okay? And when possible, we hand address these envelopes. And the reason we do is because they get open more. I grew up with a Southern mom that made me write thank you notes. I don't know if anybody y'all had a mom made you write thank you notes, you know, graduation time, birthday, whatever it was. So literally what she taught me is that you want to place in the envelope. When they open it up, they see the thank you. You know what I mean? Yeah, y'all know what I'm talking about? So you have to place it a certain way. Well, the way that you do this is you fold this over so that when they open the envelope, what they read is that top fold right there. Did you hear about your neighbor? And it's got the address. Let me tell y'all something. People are nosy. They will absolutely read the rest of that if you do it this way, okay? And then here's the story. Stats tell, stories sell. So this is a story process that people can begin to see themselves in, okay? Your neighbor called us. A friend connected us with the seller at this address. Their top priority, and then so we're looking at this, get the highest sales price possible, okay? People can begin to relate with that. That's what I want to do. I want to sell mine for the highest. Then what did we do? Here's the strategy first, showing seconds. It talks about the marketing plan. Then tailored marketing. What did we do with as far as to set this apart? Then what obstacles did we overcome? What did we do to make this thing happen? And if you want to see the full story, I'm going to show you a little bit. I think about this in just a second. He did a video portion of this on social media, okay? Then he gave the results. Sold for the highest price possible. First off, who don't want to sell a $9 million house? Come on. But
Sign me up.
we're doing, come on, man. But here's the thing is, this works even more effectively when we're using it on the average price because the agents typically won't go to this level. And so it sets us apart, okay? Simple, small call to action. Down at the bottom right, do you have a similar goal? Let's chat. That's all it is. You know, just simple and soft call to action there that we're doing, okay? Now, this is a great mailer that you can utilize where you're telling a story. Again, there's portions of this where people can begin to see themselves in this process where they can begin to see themselves working with you. Look, I can tell you right now, there are certain people that will listen to me, and there's all of us, we always got our quirks, and they'll be like, that guy talks too fast, that accent, I can't work with him. That's fine. They can't argue with the success and the results, though. You know what I mean? And so make the process the hero. Make the prospects the hero instead of you, and you'll begin to see more opportunities there as well. Also, this is what we did, and what he did is he told the story in video format. So what I told him is I said, look, there's a couple of things, and we're going to talk about in just a minute on social media, but one of the biggest things that they're looking for right now on social media is, number one is engagement. Number two, really though, biggest thing is they want to see you that things that are shared on social media, that's what's getting and going viral and getting more of these views because Instagram wants to see that connection between people, so it gets shared more. So we specifically did some messaging here to really almost, we call it dog whistle marketing, where it's speaking to the person it's supposed to speak to. We're not worried about the vanity views. We're not worried about how many views. We're worried about it getting to the right person. And there's never been a better time right now for this to happen. So I'm going to show you what this looks like, okay? This is the beginning of the video.
Wondering what it took to get a record sales price in this market environment? Here's a story.
All right, y'all can hear that, right? Matt, you can hear that sound? Okay, perfect. Just want to make double check on that. Here's the thing. If you notice, we called out who it's for, you know, wondering what it takes to get a record sales price in this market environment. Here's the story. Guess who's going to keep watching that? Anybody who's thinking about selling now or in the future. Also, if we're seeing more expireds, the person who hasn't been able to get their house sold, they're going to definitely watch this thing, okay? Then we did the same thing that he did in the letter where we went through the process. I'm going to pick this up towards the end where you can hear the call to action and kind of some of the language we used, okay? So here's what this sounds like.
Half of the average days on market. We broke a record in watercolor off the Gulf and sold this home for $9,275,000. At Anderson Group 30A, we're not just in the business of listing homes, we're in the business of getting them sold. If you know someone looking to sell their home, share this video with them today.
All right, so just let me say this. First off, Colby grew up in the little same small town that I did. I mean, literally, we were a few miles away on different dirt roads. I was in Kansas City last week, and my buddy Mike Frazier, who runs that company, he stood up and said, hey, by the way, guys, we will have someone on the side of the stage to interpret for Jimmy and Colby. I hope y'all didn't need an interpreter, but think about the messaging here. What did he do? he started talking, he went through the processes, but at the end, what he did is there was subtle messaging. It was like, if you know of someone who wants to sell their house at a record price, share this with them, okay? Now, if you look down at the bottom of this, there's 48 shares on this. Now, I got to tell you, we do prime the pump, so to speak. So, like, we will share this with each other because the algorithm has told us, Instagram's told us it wants more shares. That's how it promotes it more. But imagine 24 people sharing this with potential sellers. What is that value? That it has given him the opportunity to spread the message and show the process and make it the hero instead of himself. Total different way of thinking about reimagining some of the marketing we've done in the past in a more effective way, where it's more about them than it is about us. And ultimately, when we make it about them, I promise you it comes back to us, okay? All right, so that is
what it took to get out.
We'll go to this next one. This is one. So let's say you haven't had a recent sale. This is one that you could do on a past sale that is really effective. Another one from Jimmy, my buddy Jimmy Mack. And so it's been about 6 months since I sold your neighbor's home at the address, and I wanted to share a quick update with you. Now, what he did is he specifically with this group focused in on the people that had lived in the neighborhood for over 10 years, okay? And what he did is since that sale, 2 more homes nearby have sold. They sold 13, I can't see for sure, 13% faster than the town average and at an average of about 35% more showings than usual. That's showing, this is one that you guys could use. That's a strong sign for buyer demand in Auburn right now. Rates have eased. He's telling what's happening. Why does this make sense now? Moving lower, payments lower, and giving buyers more confidence in the ability to take action. I've been reviewing homes in the Auburn area that were purchased 10 years ago, and they've seen a substantial rise. If it's been more than 6 months since you've had a professional, please reach out and I'll give you a value update. Now, what it's done here is it's not only just saying, hey, curious about your value? No, you're saying, hey, look, I've been in your neighborhood. I've sold something. Here's an update on what I see already. So you're already giving value. And then you're asking for that. There's a reason why when I go to church that they do and they give before they pass the offering plate around. It's a natural progression. So when you're thinking about your marketing, we need to be giving something of value before we ask for something. And that's the process that is utilized in this, okay? All right. So the second thing is using buyers as bait. This sounds a little bad, but y'all, if you got a buyer, it sounds like in your market right now, that's ready, willing, and able, if you can't find what they want, it is a huge opportunity for you to utilize that to serve them at the highest level, but also to uncover not just now, but future listing opportunities as well. So here's a couple things. I'm using a couple of Jimmy stuff here in the beginning, but basically this is what he calls his magic buyer letter. There's a couple of specific things in this, okay? Again, just like we talked about with Colby's, what we did on the marketing at the beginning, we want to dog whistle this out. Who is this for? We don't mind we know that not everybody's going to read this because it doesn't affect them. So we kick it right off the gate. If you're in your forever home, ignore this letter. Okay. It's a kind of a shocking thing, but the people who are thinking about possibly selling in the future, they're like, well, that's a different message. I'm curious. It's a curiosity gap. Okay. Is what we call it. However, if you're open to the idea of potentially selling your home, I may have information that might be valuable. My client is actively searching for a home like yours in your neighborhood. Now, listen, if you don't have a buyer, I'll promise you somebody in your office has a buyer. So find a buyer that is very specific but hasn't been able to find this, okay? And then you want to share some details. We've reviewed every home currently on the market and are now directly reaching out to homeowners in your area who may be considering selling, okay? Here's some important information about my buyer. The more particular you are about who they are, the more that they trust this letter. So don't be afraid to share details. You're not going to share their name and their number, but you're going to give them enough details to see if their house might fit, okay? They're pre-qualified for up to $785. They can make a $120,000 down payment. They're flexible regarding the closing date. Even if you're months away from deciding whether to sell, still may be worth a brief conversation. We've assisted, and look, if you don't have numbers, say our company has assisted. And use a big number there, okay? We've assisted 153 clients in buying and selling in the last year and would love to help our client find their dream home. Look, we're making, not about us, we're making about that prospect. Different mentality. It hits a little different, all right? P.S. If you're not sure your home's value or worth because it's been a while since you've had that, just text me or give me a call, okay? This is a great way. And what we're going to tell the buyers, because look, we're securing that relationship with the buyer also. Hey, listen, I know we haven't been able to find anything on the market. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to do the research and I'm going to find every house that might qualify for this. I'm going to send them a personalized letter to see if I can uncover an opportunity that I'm not going to be like every other agent out there that's just waiting. I'm going to be proactive for you. So I'm going to go make this happen best I can. So these are the steps I'm doing. This is my investment of the time and the effort and the money. And I'm going to do everything in my power to find you guys the perfect home that maybe another agent that might be waiting might not be able to find for you guys. They'll never forget it. Okay, they will never forget it when you do this. So not only does it help the buyers, but I'll promise you, you in this letter, you're going to get some calls. Okay, this is an if-then letter. If you do this, then you will get some results. Okay, here's another buyer bait letter that we kind of did. Our real estate team has a number of motivated buyers and motivated and serious buyers looking to purchase homes in your neighborhood right now. They're ready to make an offer as soon as they can find the right property. Here's a little bit about our buyer list. We're doing 2 to 3 different buyers here. Because, you know, this broadens it a little bit. We got a young teacher who loves the area and is looking to buy their first home as soon as possible. He has a secure job, does not need to sell a property, and his financing is strong. Strong buyer. A couple in their 40s with children. Their family is moving to the area from Brampton to be closer to work, family, and friends. Number 3, an investor looking to renovate, add on, build up, etc. He does not need to sell a property, and his financing is strong. Now, what we've done here psychologically is we've hit 3 specific types of people. A young family is, with children in their 40s is probably going to say, well, gosh, remember when we were going through that? I wonder if we know of any of our neighbors, even if they're not selling. They just start going to work for you. Wow, I really would love, we were young. I was single when I bought this house. Man, I'd love for somebody else to do that. Or, you know what? We probably need some work on this house. I wonder if anybody will even want to buy this house, Well, an investor would. So now we've hit all of those, okay? All of our clients are flexible on closing dates, so to need time to find a new home to live or if you prefer to move out sooner, our clients can accommodate, making it easy. If you've been considering selling your home in the next 6 months, we should talk. This is kind of another way to think about this if you've got some buyers or a buyer. Here's the script, because listen, we were talking about the broke rich. Making the phone calls to follow up really helps us, okay? Again, we're making it not about us. This is your name with your company. I'm calling because I have a client who loves your neighborhood and we haven't been able to find their ideal home. They said if they find the right home, they might be willing to pay a premium. Have you heard of any of your neighbors who might consider selling? Now, we've asked them not about themselves, would they sell? We're saying, do you know of anybody? I'm just doing the best I can for this buyer. And then all of a sudden it hits a little different than, oh, this is another agent calling me to sell my house. Here's the thing. Typically, those conversations go one of a few ways. If they don't bring up their own home, which usually they will, especially if they're thinking about buying or thinking about selling, the magic question I've called my magic question, I call it the Columbo close. I know a lot of people on here aren't old enough to remember Columbo, but basically, and I'm not really, but anyway, yes, Sam. And so literally, like what Columbo would do is he would have a conversation, then he would turn to leave and he'd say, oh, one more thing. So this is that Columbo type of thing. So before you get off, just say, hey, listen, I'd be the worst realtor in the world if I didn't at least ask if there's a price where you guys might consider selling, and then just be quiet. This will absolutely create an opportunity for us to say, reality, our daughter's graduating in a year and a half. We're not going to do anything till then, but I'll tell you what, probably at that point, we're probably going to downsize. Now you're building a pipeline of opportunity. So that's the reason why these things really have some merit, not just today, but to build a pipeline where you can smooth out some of that roller coaster of real estate that a lot of people go through. Okay. All right,
Hey, Jimmy,
keep moving. Yes.
Jimmy,
Yes.
that last slide where you presented the 3 buyers, I love that, especially part number 3, because it mentions in it, someone looking to renovate, add on, build up. We have so many people, especially, we've got baby boomers out there who might not have fixed up their house, maybe are scared because they've got some improvements to do. I think that's an awesome lane to go into right there, saying, hey, we've got someone that doesn't need brand new, doesn't need fixed up. That could really speak to some people.
Now, Matt, I will tell you, this is one example. We adjust these with the neighborhood. That investor looking to, it's in every one of these. So if we go into a luxury place, for instance, we might say, instead of saying a young teacher who loves the area and wants to buy their first home, it's a family who is looking to expand into their second home in your neighborhood, or to grow into, because we've even done it where we're like, they're expecting their second child and want to get a larger home like the ones in your neighborhood. So we model those first 2, but I can tell you right now, Matt, you caught it. Every single one we do, we have that third, the investor in there, because there's always a group of those folks, like you say, that are in those neighborhoods. So good point. Really good point. All right. We'll keep moving. Number 3 is generate leads through social media. There has never been, hey, I mentioned this a little bit earlier. I call it the TikTok effect. And what the TikTok effect is when TikTok came along, before that, everybody on social media, I don't know about y'all, I had a bunch of people that I went to high school with in that little country town in Defuniak, and I sold during my selling career luxury real estate on the beach. Ain't nobody I grew up with that I was connected with on social media from back when I was in high school with buying those luxury houses. And the problem is that Facebook, Instagram at that point, they were more concerned about who you were connected with than what people were searching. TikTok comes along and it says, we don't care if you're connected to anybody. We just want to make sure that whatever it is that you watch, that we put more of that in front of you. Okay. So now more than ever, if somebody's searching for, I'm just going to use this as an example, is searching for real estate in Lansing, for instance, if you post a listing in Lansing and you do it correctly with the titling and the description using AI, they're going to put that in front of those ideal buyers. There's never been this opportunity that we have right now. Now, thinking about that, we saw that then about 1.5 years ago where Facebook and Instagram came out and said, hey, listen, we're abandoning what we did in the past. Now it's all going to be about search. We want to put more in front of people that are searching. So now it's LinkedIn, it's Facebook, everything is more like the TikTok model because it's addictive. I mean, literally, it gives you more of what you look at. My son, like 3 years ago, my son, when all this was happening with TikTok first came out, 4 or 5 years ago, he was at a church youth camp. He's in there, and this young preacher's up there just preaching his guts out, right? And the young preacher says, don't get on TikTok because all they do is show you pictures of naked women. My son leans over to his friend and says, he does know it's an algorithm. It's just showing him more of what he's looking at. You got to be careful. And if you're seeing certain things on you better watch yourself and check yourself because it's going to show you more of what you're doing. The good news for us as realtors is that if someone's searching for real estate and you do real estate related content, or they're looking to move to your area and you do content that feeds to their questions they have about moving to your area, your content now is going to get in front of them now more than ever, without you having to spend a ton of dollars to do that like we've had to do in the past. So here's a couple keys to social media, okay? Do what Meta tells you to do. Meta is literally just Facebook and Instagram. So this is Adam Asari. If you're not following him on Instagram, absolutely follow him. He's the head of Instagram. If you follow him, he does these Instagram reels, just selfie videos where he talks about, here's why you're seeing a bigger impact with your carousels. If you don't know what a carousel is, it's those where you have a picture and then it scrolls to the next one. You slide to the side. This is why that's seeing that. Because we understand that people are scrolling mindlessly. And if someone scrolls past something that we know would be interesting to them, we're putting this up a second time and scrolling to the second thing. And if we really think it's important to them and they just keep scrolling, we're going to put it up a third time in front of them and flip to the third slide for them. This is where you're getting and why carousels are doing so well. It's like playing poker with the cards up. He's just told us what they want and what we'll do better. So we follow those things that he says. That's where coming out about the shares. Here's what he told us, okay? Create content that's shareable. Used to be everything we did was we wanted to make sure that it was something that people could, that our ideal client wanted to see. Now it's what would our ideal client have shared with them? Remember that what we talked about with Colby on share this with someone you know who wants to sell their house at the highest price possible. Friends share with other friends. So we're now, instead of thinking about what is it that our ideal client would want to see, what is it that someone would share with our ideal client or our ideal client would share with someone else? Now, that's a different deal and a different mentality. Also, focus on video and carousels. Now, I know people get uncomfortable with video. Listen, if this bald, shiny head can do it, I'll promise you, you can do it. This voice can do it. I promise you can do it. Just do it. Get involved with video. The algorithm, which is AI, is rewarding videos and carousels right now better than anything on the internet. So make sure you're utilizing that. Also, just model after others. I'm gonna give you some examples of all these, okay? All right, we think about it that, and as real estate agents, when I grew up in the business, we were just taught everything needs to be ABC, always be closing. Y'all, that's not the way it works anymore, okay? Now, I'm not saying there's not a time when you need to be closing, but with Instagram, with social media, it's about getting people involved. So be the local resource. So it needs to be a mix. If all you do is post just listed, you're gonna literally, the algorithm's gonna drive you down. But if you're posting things that people are sharing or they're interested in, or you're posting information about your local community or new businesses, it will absolutely reward you. Okay, so this is Alyssa Kernet. She's out of Spokane, Washington, probably one of the best at doing local content. So this is one that she did about a farmer's market in Spokane, Washington. I want you to see the format because I'm going to tell you exactly the format she uses. Okay.
Spokane's very first permanent indoor farmers market is just about to open up, and here is a sneak peek of it.
The Scalehouse Market is a multi
All right, couple things. We're thinking, what is this about real estate? Y'all, she has generated a ton of referrals from across the market. Guess who watches, not just locally, guess who watches real estate agents on social media? Other real estate agents. She's generated over 30 referrals this year because of her social media. So it's not that that's the main focus, but it absolutely is a little, as they say in Louisiana, a little lagniappe, a little something extra, okay? Now, you'll notice the format here. Very easy. She does a selfie video in front of her telling what it's about. You know, today I'm in front of Spokane's first farmers, all the time farmers market that's getting ready to open. Then she shoots B-roll footage. You see how she's shooting this footage while she's there? 2-second clips. She voices over, and then she comes back on for a selfie outro. So I'll show you what that is, and then I'll tell you why this is so effective.
It officially opens this weekend, and it will be open year-round.
Share this video with a friend who loves a good farmers market.
Share this video with a friend who loves a great farmer's market. Look down at the bottom right on this. On a freaking farmer's market in Spokane, Washington. 8,000 shares on this bad boy. This has gotten her so much exposure. And if you go into your analytics, it tells you how many people out of this. And typically, it's in the range of about 7 to 8%. Check out your profile that finds you on a piece of content. Out of that, if you're thinking about this, she had almost 300,000 views on this. She had roughly 20,000 people check out her profile. She got a ton of new followers, and they saw her as the real estate agent. Well, guess who's interested in new farmers markets? People that are in a community, people that are thinking about moving to a community. This is one of those that gets shared. Every time somebody shared this, not only did somebody that she probably was not connected with see this for the first time and become acquainted with her, she becomes what I call micro famous in her local area. So important. Friend of mine said it this way. Listen, if you're in real estate and you don't have a personal brand, it's like being a samurai without a sword. You can fight, but you're not near as effective as you could be. There's never been a better time for this, okay? So this is what
Spokane's
she did.
very
Now, I'm
first
going to show you on this next. Model after what others do. So I'm going to use her as an example on this also. Well, I'm going to show you something that Colby did. Now, Colby came to me and he's like, what are we going to do? And I said, man, you really ought to see what this friend of mine, Brad, up in Ontario, what he did was unique. Is basically he took a paper airplane and said, what it looks like to fly through your dream home. This is the house he sold for $9 million. You'll notice he shot this with his iPhone. The biggest issue he had was remembering from 4th grade how to fold a paper airplane. So this is what this looked like, okay?
Have you ever wondered what it looks like to glide through your dream home? Now that's first class luxury here in watercolor on 38. We're a little over 6,000 square feet, 6 bedrooms, 7.5 bath, and one of the most prestigious homes in.
All right, I'm going to stop it there because basically how he shot this was he folded a paper airplane and he walked through the house like this. And then he used an app to speed it up, slow it down. That's all he did. When I showed this to him, he said, man, I don't want to copy what Brad did up in Canada. And I said, Brad copied that from somebody, I'll promise you. And the reason why it did so well is because it's creative. You don't have to recreate the wheel. You just got to put your own rims on that thing and spin those suckers, okay? So think of it this way. When you're coming to this, if you took and you did this uniquely in your market, it will absolutely do extremely well, okay? So here's another idea on this, okay? One of the things that I like to do is think about what it is. This was one of those that Jimmy and I have been working on some stuff on some Instagram polls. I don't know if you know this, but if you do an Instagram story, it goes off, but you can put links. And now you have the ability through edits to actually do this on Instagram as well as a post. But I'm going to just use this for a story. We're expecting, and basically this is what came out of NAR, they're expecting 14% increase in lift in home sales this year. So this is what this looks like. What's your plan for 2026? Buy a home, sell, or both? Let me tell you something. And on Instagram, if somebody clicks that, it tells you who clicked and voted. Guess who needs to get a call? Whoever says they're buying a home, selling, or both. Because now you've got a reason to reach out. Hey, I saw where you commented on that. Just checking in. If your guys are selling this, have y'all had an updated idea on what your value is? Have you guys got an agent you're working with? This is a way to use social media. It costs you $0 to put something like this up. Do this on a consistent basis, and this will generate some opportunities to generate some buyers and some sellers, okay? And then, look, being an outdoor cat, I don't know if y'all know this. I grew up out in the country, and there's a big difference between indoor cats and outdoor cats. Y'all know what I'm talking about? These indoor cats, they're fat, they're lazy, they're antisocial. Outdoor cat, total different deal. This is what indoor cat looks like, okay? They're lazy, waiting on somebody to feed them. Antisocial. They're sitting at the window, looking outside, thinking, I got it made in this AC. And they are watching the world go by that they're not participating in, and they think they got it made, but they're actually living in a cage. There's a big difference, though, when we're talking about some outdoor cats, right? I don't know. I mean, we had this barn cat. You don't mess with that. That dude, he would eat you alive. You know what I mean? Outdoor cats are free. They're creative, and they know that if they're going to eat, somebody's going to have to die. I'm going to have to go make this happen. They don't wait on anything, okay? So here's what I see with some of these things as far as these outdoor cats with the marketing we're seeing that's effective right now on social media. Now, this is a friend of mine out of Charlotte, North Carolina. He didn't want to do video because he was uncomfortable, kind of a quirky guy, hilarious, a little bit of a nerd, you know what I'm saying? But he decided he hired this young Gen Z employee to come in and just basically video him and edit those things. He sends it to the Gen Z employee, who's a little bit of a smart aleck, let's be real, okay? Sends this back to him, and this is what they sent back to him, okay? Let me get this. Come on, y'all. I mean, he got this back and he said, I was so embarrassed, but it made me laugh. And you know what? I got to get to a point where I don't care what other people think. The people that I want to do business with have a sense of humor. I'm going to share this. He shared this thing, 2.3 million shares on this. He and I were speaking at a conference about 8 months ago. I said, hey, man, what has this done for your business? He said, Jimmy, I can track. That told me because they found me on this. 72 referrals in the last 14 months have come through this one video. Y'all, here's the thing. Be authentically yourself. I mean, I'm just telling you, people aren't thinking about you as much as you think. Get uncomfortable. The people who are just absolutely themselves, those are the ones. Now, I would tell you this. I mean, there's some stuff maybe you don't need to do out there. How many of y'all got some people you follow that are crazy? I mean, crazy will draw a crowd. We don't want to be crazy, but we want to utilize this, okay? Let me show you another example of this, okay? This is a friend of mine out in San Diego. Now, I'm not telling you to do this. Y'all need to talk to your brokers, okay? But they're a little creative. This was something that my buddy did where he was talking about clear cooperation, okay? So, again, clear this with your broker, but think from a creative standpoint.
Hey, told you, can't show that yet. I'm standing in front of my new listing here in Pacific Beach, but because of clear cooperation, I can't give you the address or the price. Now, what I can do is tell you all about the area. For example, I'm standing right on Thomas Avenue between Jewel and Kendall, just 9 blocks from the beach. And I can't talk about like price and comps or anything because clear cooperation, of course. But if I were to sell a house in this neighborhood, I don't know. I think I'd probably list it between like 2 and 2.25 million, give or take.
Now, listen, again, don't go do this, before you talk to your broker.
Please check with your broker.
Yes, please check with your broker. But I'm not even talking about this. Just think creatively on what is out there that you can do a little different, okay?
Hey,
all right, let me go to this next one. This is another one. This is a friend of mine in Raleigh, North Carolina, and she got this feedback that there was this house was too dark. They couldn't get any good light in this house, right? So what she did is it had been sitting on the market for 3 months, and instead of just saying, oh gosh, I guess they should paint the house, this is what she did. This is the video. Comments, recommendations. Buyer liked the floor plan of this townhome, but felt the interior was too dark.
This is our beautiful listing at 2829 Plumfield, inside the Beltline, listed for only $525. We got this feedback over the weekend, and so I wanted to make this video showing you all of the natural light that's just pouring into this house. I mean, it's coming in every window. You don't even need the lights on. There's literally natural light everywhere. So what do you guys think? Do you think there's plenty of natural light or not enough?
Hey, again, I don't know if I'd do that one, Matt. You know what
I
I'm
saw
saying?
that one. I saw that one in my feed. I 100% saw that.
So I got to tell y'all, it'd been sitting for 3 minutes. She literally ended up getting 2 offers the next week on this listing that had been sitting still. So just think creatively, you know what I mean? And then just ultimately just be an outdoor cat. I mean, wouldn't that be great if, I mean, listen, when I'm gone, if somebody says, man, that Jimmy, he's a little crazy, but boy, he's an outdoor cat. He wasn't waiting on somebody to feed him. I mean, he went out and made things happen. And so that's who I want to be known. Just be an outdoor cat, okay? All right, we're going to keep moving. Deal of the week. So here's the keys. We are in real estate. So reaching out to our database and on social media with ideas of properties. And the idea is what's the best deal you've seen all week? Doesn't have to be your listing. If it's not, I would let the people know, hey, I want to promote your listing. I think it's a great deal. Most are going to say yes. The key on this is the consistency. Every single week at the same day, we're going to send, and it's your area deal of the week. Do not include necessarily the address or photos, and then also a simple call to action, okay? Because we want to make this easy. Here's an example of this. Destin, Florida deal of the week. This is Holly that works with us down here. I knew I had to show you this house the moment I saw it. She sent this to her whole database. Destin, Florida, bullet points. We're doing it because people scan things, okay? Here's the offer price. Curious to see photos? Just reply to this email. We make it very easy. Now, this is an example. If you'll do this on a weekly basis, you'll be amazed. That dead database that's been cold, all of a sudden, some of it will turn to sold, okay, to get you opportunities. This is what it looks like. And again, this is one that Jimmy, after we started working on this, he put this together for social media. You know, we were talking about Auburn's deal of the week. And then it's this. Want a listing link? Yes, please send it. Anybody that wants that, they're raising their hand and telling you, I'm a buyer. So this is a great way to generate some opportunities on social media as well, okay? All right, geographical farming with direct mail pieces. Listen, I did it 2 weeks ago. We did the Friday Mastermind. You can get all the details on how to figure out how to identify them. But what I want to do today is just share a few main practices, okay? Think about where your ideal clients live. This is how you can find the neighborhood. Is there a dominant agent, somebody that you're going to have to fight to get past, or is it just kind of disjointed and you'll have an ease of coming in and being the dominant agent? And then run the numbers. Does it make sense? What is your break even? How many houses do you have to sell if you're investing on a monthly basis into direct mail and investing in that neighborhood? So the second thing you want to do is prepare for the opportunity. Understand that an expert on a neighborhood knows the history and the amenities of that neighborhood like nobody else. They know the sales history of the neighborhood, and they understand what's available now and what's recently sold so they can speak as a professional. And the third thing is marketing to the neighborhood. So here's a couple keys to that. Minimum of at least one direct mail piece per month. Also, I would suggest in that first 3 months, if you really want to get people to know you, do one every 2 weeks the first 3 months. Really prime the pump. Be as visible as possible in the neighborhood. Walk in the neighborhood, open house, anything you can do to be active in that neighborhood. And then host 2 events at least in that neighborhood on an annual basis. Could be Kona Ice for kids the week the school opens or it gets out for summer. A food truck night, a movie night, a pet photo week, whatever it is. Have something that you do in the neighborhood. This is the ZMA letter that Jimmy put together. I thought this was phenomenal because how many of us can agree? The Zestimate is wrong every single time, right? I mean, so literally when we're looking at this, he took the Zestimate, snapshotted it, put it on a page where he's sending this out with a yellow sticky that says, would you consider selling for 10% more than this? Zillow thinks your home is worth. You bought it for this. It turns out that Zillow's right. If I could sell it for 10% more than the estimate, would you be interested? This is a great way and a great mail piece to utilize. I'm going to get y'all all of these slides too, Matt, where you can get these out if anybody wants them, okay? Community involvement. This is Julie out of St. Louis. She does this where she has what she calls a dump or donate day in the spring every year in her market. She has got a hauling company that puts a dumpster, and she's got Habitat for Humanity at this park in the beginning of the neighborhood. They bring their stuff, and if Habitat doesn't want it, they put it in the dumpster. Cost her both of those, do it for free because they want to be a part of this in this neighborhood, okay? Great community involvement. This is something else from 1000 Watt we got a couple weeks ago. Marketing materials. This is just something different on a coming soon. Marketing materials and final production. Saturday launch confirmed. Different way. Also, a pantry that could survive a gourmet apocalypse. This is different than a just listed postcard. We're taking whatever it is that is in that home amenity-wise, and we're highlighting that amenity, okay? Number 6 on this is the unsolicited VDCMA. I got to tell y'all, this is the one that literally I did in my business, and here's some of the results. Now, what this is instead of just sending a typical printed CMA, we want to take it to the next step and actually send, without them asking, so it's unsolicited, record our screen. I use BombBomb. You could use Zoom Party of One, where you're down in the bottom just like this, and then you're going through and you're sharing your screen on what their value is, okay? Now, you can get as detailed as you want as this. I'm just going to give you the basis, okay? Here's what I did the first time that I tested this. I did 72 CMAs in a 90-day period. Every single day, I made the commitment personally. I was going to do 72, one of these every day I worked. I didn't work every day. It was the fourth quarter of that year, so it was Christmas, Thanksgiving, some Sundays that I took off. But every single day I worked, I did one of these. At the end of that 90 days, I had listed over $11 million worth of real estate. It created these conversations. It turned out, because it took me about a half hour each morning to do this, it was a $3,600 an hour activity. You may be saying, yeah, but your average sales price is higher. What if yours is half? It's still an $1,800 hour activity. Consistency is key on this, though, okay? And here's the thing is, right after this happened, I shifted over to the leadership side and out of my sales side. I did not reach out to any of these. This little thing called the pandemic happened. And all of a sudden, because I'll show you what I did in the video in just a second, I told them if they're ever curious about what their value is to come back and I can give them an updated one. I listed an additional $5 million because this was a unique way 18 months later without reaching out to any of them, okay? So here's the keys to it, all right? Give them the value they want. That's what they want. Stop and stay top of mind and shelf life on the marketing, okay? Prep before sending this. Google Earth, you want that set up, okay? And here's the reason why. We're going to start every video with Google Earth. When I click play, we're going to have that house pulled up. I'm going to push play, and I'm going to hit Google Earth. It's going to come from outer space down on top. The REIT of their house. I'm going to tell you something. Somebody sends me an email, and with BombBomb, you know, it starts that GIF and goes down on their house. Somebody sends me something that is outer space that stops on top of my house. I'll promise you I'm pushing play. Okay, our open rates on this were over 80% on these, on the initial email. We're going to have the comps pulled up, and also we're going to have an estimated seller net sheet, okay? Now, here's the whole thing. This is the opening when it came in from Google Earth. Now, this is a perfect example. You think you can't do video? Look at this costume. Shiny bald head. I don't know if it was Halloween, but if it wasn't, I missed a good opportunity with that orange shirt. If I can do video, you can do it, okay? This is what it looked like on the opening and basically the opening, all I said is, hey, it's been a little while since I've gotten you an update on your value. So what I'm going to do is in the next few minutes is I'm going to show you what's currently for sale, what's under contract, and what is sold like yours to give you a range of value. I haven't been in your place in a little while, so I'm going to give you a range of value, but I can tell you this, if you're curious about what it'll sell for, I can walk through in 5 minutes. I can tell you exactly what it'll sell for. I don't know whether you've had some, maybe some deferred maintenance, or maybe you've done some upgrades that I'm not aware of, but this is what I'm going to do. Flip over to the MLS. You can do it with whatever you're doing for CMAs. However, you come in here and I'm showing them exactly what the sold comps are, what's for sale, and giving them a range of value. And then I'm going to go to the estimated seller net sheet, tell them what a typical closing cost would be and what they could almost estimate, excluding the typical closing costs, covering ourselves, you know what I mean? Mortgage, you know, the typical things, but give them a range of value there. Here's the key on this. Consistency. Do this in a season. Don't do this every day forever. Do it for a 6-week period. Do it for a 90-day period. Take this, and every single time we've done this, I think y'all did this a few years ago, didn't you? I think as a company, maybe if I'm remembering correct, y'all did this as a company a couple years ago. It gets results. Then the valuation update. I'm going to give them the, you know, what it is, what's going on. And then I'm going to provide a range of value. And last but not least, I always had in there, if you're curious in the future of what your value was in February of 2026, just come back to your email and search under your address or valuation update, and you'll be able to find what this was. BombBomb lets me know. It pings me every time somebody watches one of my videos. When you see those things pinged up when I was in the pandemic, it obviously cued me that somebody's curious about their value and created opportunities. Last but not least, buy lunch, not leads. Listen, I think we've got an industry that is constantly looking for the easy button. Let me tell you what the easy button is. Relationships. And so this was something that my friend that we saw that had the natural light that she did about 3 years ago. I was working with her, coaching her some. What she did is she said, I'm sick of buying these leads. And as we evaluated her business, she was spending about 30% of her time making these cold calls to people that didn't know her, didn't like her, didn't trust her. And so what she said is I'm cutting that out, and I'm going to just start buying lunch and having coffee with people that are in my sphere, past clients. She committed to do 3 a week. She did this for the entire year. it averaged out to 3 a week. So after the year, and she didn't work every week. So it was about 100 of these that she did over the year. She ended up seeing a 40% increase in her business the following year. Because here's all it was is tell me how things are going with you and your family. It was a relationship. And ultimately, then she always asked this question, and this is what I've been coaching, is from a standpoint of when you get to that point, just say, hey, listen, if they own a business, their husband owns a business, they're involved in a charity, whatever it is. Hey, listen, is there anything I can do to support you guys in that, whatever it is? And what it does is it creates this law of reciprocity. And look, you should mean it. You know what I mean? Don't just say it, mean it. And then if they ask you to do something, do it. But then what always happens is they say, and is there anything I can do for you? Hey, listen, obviously, as you know, I mean, my business is built on having more relationships like you. So thanks in advance for as you hear about people that are buying or selling, just keeping me in mind and making an introduction for me. This is what led to all those referrals. Focus in on buying lunch, not leads, and you're absolutely going to get better results, okay? All right, let me just say this, and I always close with this. Somebody's going to have their best year ever. Why not you? Why not this be the year that you decide to be the best professional you've ever been? You decide to serve your clients to the highest level. You decide to be the best version of yourself in your business. But listen, it's not just about your business. Somebody's going to be the best husband, the best father, the best mother, the best spouse, the best wife. Somebody's going to be the best friend. Somebody's going to have their best year ever. And look, if all you do is get it right in business, you get it wrong. It should be balanced throughout your entire life. I just want to encourage you. Somebody's going to have that best year ever. Lean in this year and let that be you. And if you'll do these things we were talking about, y'all, you have a huge opportunity. Your market is unique. You have more opportunity than agents across the country. And the best way you honor that opportunity you've got is give it all you got. So I appreciate the time. Matt, thanks for having me. Scott, Greg, appreciate you guys. And any quick questions, then I got to bounce pretty quick if you don't mind.
Well, thanks so much for sharing. We're big fans of Jimmy Mackin as well and love that cross content. I mean, it works. And my favorite moment was buy lunch, not leads. I mean, we are all about that. Your sphere is the engine. And, we're going to continue reinforcing those over the next couple of weeks. So Jimmy, we're going to break down some of the stuff you talked about today over the next 2 or 3 weeks with our group. We'll probably reach out to you to grab some of that content. We'll share it in Canva to our agents so everybody can really get out there and run. So I know your time's valuable. Thank you so much for sharing it with our group today. We appreciate it. Greg, final thoughts?
Thanks a lot, Jimmy. I really incredible. I was inspired to maybe I can do it too. Working on being some outdoor cats and try to get out there and do some things.
I look like an outdoor cat, man. I look like I've been through it.
Look at me. I'm scarred up. I mean, it's bad. I mean, but yeah. So anyway, but hey, thanks guys. I really appreciate it. I'll get those slides over and hey, just tune in on the Friday Masterminds. I would just encourage agents to do that. We're going to do our best to bring
we're always there. Where are the rib tips? Where are the rib tips? Burn in. Let's go.
Man, they're all right here. I'm wearing them. I mean, literally, you remember that, it's a whole different deal with me right now. I mean, it's literally, that's where it's all at. It's ridiculous. I mean, it's almost beach weather down here. We got beach weather in the next 4 or 5 weeks. It's beach time. Literally, if it was today, somebody'd be hollering whale on the beach if I was out there right now. It's embarrassing. So I got some work to do.
Luckily in Michigan, we have a little runway to get there to beach weather. So
I know. We got a ways to go.
Yeah,
that's right.
Well, thanks to you, Jimmy. Thanks. I know you got another call to get to. Thank you to everyone that tuned in today. We appreciate the investment of time. I promise together we're going to keep delivering this high value and high value speakers, and we're all going to grow together and crush it this year. So we'll see you at the next one.
So what is next? So there's a lot of content there, and I don't know about the group, but you kind of get on these calls, not real sure. You see this stuff, you're like, this is great. The call's over, and now I'm like, well, wait a minute. I don't know how to do any of that. So what's next? What do we have next, Matt?
So we're going to take some of the key points that Jimmy brought today. We're going to break them down into the how-to, and we're going to get some of those templates, some of those sample letters, postcards, videos, and things into Canva, into shareable. You can duplicate, put your name on it in Canva, and start producing. Get with your office manager or agent success pro to help. Reach out to the marketing department. Anything you need to do to, like Jimmy said, prime the pump. Now is the time to start acting on some of this stuff. So we're going to follow up the next couple of weeks. You'll get another Zoom invite. We'll get on, we'll share, we'll dive just a little bit deeper into the how-to, and we'll keep rolling to the next session. So stay tuned for announcement of our next FaceTime live stream with our next guest. We're lining up. We're just trying to get the best speakers around to come in and teach us all and learn together. So I hope you enjoyed today. It was a lot of effort. I would be remiss if I didn't thank our marketing and IT departments that put a ton of time into making sure it worked right, building the FaceTime site. And we did that to make it easier for all of you to get on right where you are with no passwords, no special links. It's always going to be facetime.com. Just jump in and join wherever you are, even if it's in the car, not driving, hopefully. But, get on your phone and learn. I think it's all going to work out great. So thank you so much to everyone. And thank you, Scott, Greg, being good co-hosts. And we'll see you on the next one.
Sounds great. Thanks, guys. See you.
Take care, guys.
Boom.